Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at moving out of Halloween and into Christmas. And we're going to start by taking a look at how to build some homemade trees to complement your winter village, your vignettes, your entire village, or wherever you want to place these. We were able to find some stems at Hobby Lobby, and we used those stems to make this ice tree, and then a different set of stems to make this snow-covered tree. And so today we're going to take a closer look at how to build these. The good part is they're relatively inexpensive. We found individual stems at Hobby Lobby for, these were $1 a piece, 99 cents, and then they were on sale, I think 40% off of that regular price. So we picked up, I think, 12 or so of each. That's enough to make 6 trees. It does take 2 of each type, each kind, to make a single tree. So with that, I think they look pretty good. Let's take a closer look at how we build them. Okay, before we get completely started, let me show you some of the products that you're going to need. I use the pink XPS styrofoam that you pick up at Lowe's or Home Depot. I've got these wooden circles that I picked up off of Amazon. These are 2-inch variety. You can get them in all sizes. I find 2 inches is the best, I think, for trees. So I've got some of those. I've got the individual stems, as you can see here. To wrap the stems, I've got some brown floral tape. We picked that up at Hobby Lobby as well. So we'll need that. We've got our hot glue gun ready to go. We've got a pencil. And so essentially, and then before we've got some spray adhesive, and then we've got some of these snow, what's this called? This is snowflakes. I know you can get snow flurries a little bit thinner. I think we picked this up at Michael's or Lowe's, or somewhere like that. It's plentiful this time of year, starting the season. So you'll need some of that potentially to spray onto and then sprinkle that onto the base of your trees. And so the way I start this essentially is I'll take the wooden piece, place it along the foam, and then simply trace around it with a pencil. You can see I've made several from Halloween and now Christmas. And then essentially you cut this out with your Hotwire Foam Factory or whatever brand that you use of foam tool. I use the straight knife and then cut that out. And then sand it down a little bit to get it smooth. And then we hot glue that onto the base. And I've already done that on this one to save a little bit of time. And then once the tree is done and it's in there, then I'll go back to the Hotwire Foam tool, the same straight knife, and sort of shave this down. Somebody asked me that on the last video. They're like, hey, you used a file to do that. Why didn't you just use your Hotwire Foam tool? You know, I had no good answer. It's a great idea. So whoever said that, thank you, because that's what I do now. I just basically take it and cut it down, and you can see kind of the way that's sort of tapered. A tapered look. It's certainly a lot easier than doing it with a file. Saves a lot of time. Just do it outside, make sure you're well ventilated and things like that. And then I put a little bit of white paint on there, spray some adhesive once that's dry, and then sprinkle those snow flurries on it and call it done. So with that, let's get into building 2 of these trees. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is try to figure out how these are going to fit together, right? You certainly don't want them like this. So the way that I do this, you can maneuver these or bend these any way you see fit, right? And so I've done that here, and I'm essentially going to shove this sort of just about like that. And that looks like a pretty good tree to me. And so really, guys, it's that easy. Then I take the floral tape and I'll start wrapping up towards the top and just wrap this bad boy with floral tape all the way down. if you've never used floral tape, it is a little sticky. So just be aware of that. It doesn't, certainly it washes right off, but just keep twirling this around and get a good overlay on there, a good amount on there. Now, I don't need to go all the way to the bottom because I'm going to cut that off to properly size the tree. And then I'm just going straight back up the top and putting really 2 coats. Is it necessary? Probably not. You could get away with 1, but I'm going to add just a second one here to kind of go back up towards the top, just to make sure that these don't ever separate. And then once that's wrapped, back up toward the top, you just rip it off, and that is essentially your tree, at least to start with. And it sort of looks like that, right? Now we need to figure out how tall do we want our tree. So I've got one that's a pretty good size. I would like a smaller one, right? And so in order to do that, I'm going to take these industrial type scissors or some side cuts or whatever you got. Just be careful with whatever you're using and cut these right off, just like that. Then I take, this is already glued, remember that, right? So then I take, you've seen me use this before on the Haunted Mansion, where I'm putting holes in the foam to get plants and shrubs and things like that. And essentially you're just going to poke a hole right through the center of where this stem is going to go through. I'm going to take the hot glue gun and poke it right down in there and get quite a bit of glue up there. Now this is on the hot setting, which is probably, I turned it on, I forgot to turn it to low. So it's on high, but that's got a good amount of glue in it. And then that's just gonna stick down in there, and then that will ultimately dry. And then while that's drying, we would build our next one with ice. I can set this off to the side. We do the same thing for the one with ice. Essentially, you just kind of put these together to where it looks presentable. Now these shed a little bit, so you're going to have little ice crystals all over your hand. It sticks to the residue from the floral tape, but it's the same concept. You start up high and start wrapping these. Okay, so that's thoroughly wrapped. You can bend these after the fact to get them to go exactly where you want them to look like any kind of shape of a tree that you'd like. And so that's good. And now we're ready we'll put this down. And the next thing that I'll do is glue this onto the base. This is on low setting now, so just a little bit of glue there. And then glue that onto the base. Let that sort of dry like that. While it's in the process of drying, we'll poke another hole right in the center of it, or as close as you can to the center. Okay, some glue down in there. And then we're going to cut this to size. So I'm going to, same thing here. Cut that to size, and then right down into the center of that. And then let that dry. And so once that's done, really that's your trees. Now you'll take them out and form this to a much lower level. I'm not going to do any of that, guys. You've seen all that before. You just shave these down, spray some, paint these white. At least that's the color I wanted to paint them white. And then once they're painted and dry, some spray adhesive on it or some white PVA glue all around it, and then sprinkle on the snowflakes or the snow flurries and call it done. Let that dry and cure. And it doesn't come off. I mean, it's on there pretty good. I mean, it holds it pretty good. And I think they look pretty good. So really, guys, that's it. That's as hard as this is. So hopefully this was easy enough, and hopefully it inspired you to build some trees. Okay, so that was a quick and down and dirty method for building some winter trees for your dioramas, your vignettes, your village. And hopefully, you know, I'm still in the Halloween spirit. We're a week out, a week out from Halloween, essentially. 32 days out from Thanksgiving. And I don't know when you decorate for Christmas. I know through some of the social media sites that I'm on now, a lot of people have already started setting up for Christmas. You can see in the background, I've still got my Halloween villages up. They will stay up through Halloween, and then I'll start dismantling those, redecorate a little bit for just a fall kind of a look. And then 32 days from today is Thanksgiving. And that's the day that I'll be setting up my Christmas village, my vignettes, and getting our house decorated for Christmas. And I'll be honest with you, I've accumulated quite a bit of stuff to get ready to do that with, but I've done none of it. So you're gonna follow along with me as I start creating some vignettes and some villages for Christmas. And so you'll get to see it as I go through it. And hopefully you're as excited about that as I am. I can't wait. This is the first. This is kicking it off for the Christmas season. So hopefully you liked it. If you did, click that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. It keeps me motivated and inspired to keep pushing out these videos. I certainly appreciate everyone tuning in. I appreciate your support. If you have questions or comments, leave those at the bottom of the page there, and I'll make sure to get back to you and answer your questions as best I can. Until then, we'll see you next time. Take care.